Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, members of the public. Good afternoon to those of you on the commute, those of you who are traveling to and from work. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon today. Those of you who are providing the transport for the public, the much needed transport so they get to and from their destinations. We want to thank you for that service. Private taxis, maxis, bus, the TTR, TT ride share, all these different modes of transport. We want to say good afternoon to you and thank you for taking the time, just some time to spare with us to get into some dialogue about issues facing the Trinidad and Tobago society, the Trinidad and Tobago public, in the public space, in the public domain. We want to pay our homage to the owners and operators of this great radio station, Mr. Neil IWER George himself and his staff and producers and security and all those who make this show possible. We want to say good afternoon to you too. To the members of the pavilion. Some of you we're not hearing Prezi. Don't know if some of you know how to check in on him. These are the times where we have to check in on one another. We do have to look for one another. When you hear somebody, some of you who are callers to other programs, you know yourselves, you know your friends, at least acquaintances by radio. Check in with them. We're not hearing Prezi and some other of our distinguished members of the pavilion, but we do honor and appreciate you, all the usual callers, all the people who keep calling, even the new ones. We do appreciate your discussion, your input, your advice, your counsel, your warnings, your debate. It all makes for a healthy game of cricket. So we do want to thank you. And where there's life, there's a way, and one person is responsible for that. So we do have to say thank God for life on this day, the 10th of August. We really want to say thank God for life. Life in Trinidad, life on this earth. We got another day today and we have to give thanks for it. With me in studio is, as usual, my co-umpire, but in a professional sense, many times more my senior. Good afternoon, Senior Matheson.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to all our listeners, far and abroad. Good afternoon to the other umpires that are sometimes not here. Selvon Mitchell. I've known Mitchell for a while, and Simoya, Coach Simoya.
Yeah.
I've known Simoya for some time now. Good afternoon to you guys out there. Good afternoon to those of you who make it your business to tune into us on evenings. We are not always here. Sometimes it's very difficult to make this show, I must say. Last week I was away for some time, and I'm here today. So it is a pleasure to be on the show this evening, and we look forward to a very interesting discussion on the show.
Yeah, good afternoon to my neighbor. My neighbor is locked on listening. Good afternoon to you. And there's so much in this, and I use this word sparingly, republic of ours, with wisdom, and you really have to know when to turn your ears on, when to turn your ears off.
Correct.
Because if you keep listening, you may become easily disillusioned. For some people, this is a little paradise, and they know why. And for others, this is Gotham City. And they're hoping Batman puts in an appearance soon. For some people, that is their life. That is their reality. For some of us, we have the luxury of, this is the best island in the world. And we say these things. Some of us ain't even go to Tobago, so we really don't have a context in which to say that. However,
You say it anyway.
we say it anyway, and we are not knocking our sense of patriotism, our sense of pride, our sense of national pride and development, and if only that were possible every day, here would be a better place.
Correct.
And I intended to start in a particular direction, but permit me, Senior, to digress into an issue we talked about, but we didn't feature it. The whole issue of our independence parade. Now, there has been much furor about this parade ever since it was cancelled. And I am not saying at all that the general public does not deserve a logical explanation for decisions of the government. So I hold two things to be true. It is the government's decision to make. It is the state's decision to make. Nobody owes you a parade. However, as part of the national fabric of national pride, let me put it in those glowing terms.
But it's the way we celebrate our independence.
Yes, yes. I did say a couple of weeks ago when we were in the emancipation wagon that we seem to be in love with rituals. If a Congo man had a nationality, it would be a Trini. Because we seem to be in love with rituals as opposed to meaning. And we are interested in form rather than substance. And I say that because I have seen cultural celebrations in other parts of the world. And they have it, so it's not new anywhere. But there is a lot more for the brain than just for the mouth. It is not just drink a beer, eat a food, and party like a rock star, knock glass, and yippee ding, and even all over the world, you sometimes you hear this complaint even going into religious celebrations like Christmas. If Christmas for you is parang, food, pastel, and ham, and you live in contention with those around you yearly, what is the true spirit of Christmas? And we always sing that at that time, don't forget the reason for the season. So let's pull it back. I do not hear the same discussion from any corner about either the true meaning of independence nor even emancipation, and I'm taking them together. I heard the prayer in the opening ceremony in emancipation, and my God, the list of ancestors was long, from George Padmore to here to Eric Williams to Patrick Manning. I heard a long list of ancestors. Practically was people who died, basically, and who had political influence. But I was looking for, even during this season, more discussion. I was asking, where's the university? And selfishly and nostalgically, I was comparing it to my experience at Mona, Jamaica, where the university played a pivotal role in social dialogue. From discussions about marijuana to sex and gender in dancehall music, every social topic that confronted the Jamaican society. The university had a forum with it at Mona while I was a student. I did not understand that because I did not come from that culture, but the lecturers and professors were not just academics. They had a say in educating the public and the student body at large.
Well, first thing I would want to say that I wouldn't confuse the two. That is the social dialogue that is expected from the university and the cultural significance of independence and emancipation. They both, emancipation and to a large extent independence, have similar relevance to a celebration of such have similar relevance to a society like Trinidad and Tobago. And if only, but I get where you're going, if only we would really understand the real significance of it, where we have been, where we came from. We had to understand our history to know where we're going and what we want in the future. We have to know where we came from. We have to know, and we have to celebrate that to some extent. There's some significance to that. We have to understand that, and they are kind of like one in the same, emancipation and almost long before and independence, because the independence we're talking about here is independence from not the metropole or the
colony, the British,
British colony, as a colony,
the colonizers,
But and then of course the emancipation celebration would have to do with the fact that we came here and we were slave and we were set free at some point in time. I see a wider understanding, and I would have discussed that with you on the last day when we were talking about emancipation. How I see emancipation, not only that, but an emancipation of your mind, an emancipation of thought, an emancipation of your the things that is keeping you back. Emancipate yourself from that. Emancipate yourself from that mental chains that you keep in your head. That if you think you can't do this, you can't do that, they're stopping you from doing this. You could break from that chains and get past that. But more than that, the celebration as we see it should not only relate to that, but it should relate to an achievement. The celebration of an achievement, where we have been and where we have what we have come out of. But to a large extent, and I agree with you and all the other people like David Mohammed and all the people who say that, who have the same challenge that we have here, and that is to some extent that is not as deep as that. For most of the people that celebrating, they see it as just a march. They see it just as a wear clothes, and then after that, nothing happens. You forget everything about that, not understanding that should be interwoven into the whole moral fabric of the society. That understanding that where we came from and we want to move to the next level, and that kind of thing.
Well, we on the same trajectory.
Yeah.
But I find anything other than deep reflection and thought very vain, because the genesis of the words themselves or the event started not with a cultural celebration.
Correct.
It started with a movement that was much deeper. Now we celebrate to commemorate.
Mm-hmm.
But celebration wasn't the reason why we had independence, nor emancipation. Good. That came long after. And we have reversed the order of things. And my pet peeve is that we can't just hope that this will happen. This has to be taught. It has to be structured. And then I get back to my scenario. The university led. The university, those who have all this academics, they led, because who are the people to feed the nation with all the history? Professor Gordon Roller. You always hear him talk and comment, on social issues. They say him Utica chairman.
You see?
Yes. he speaks often enough about social issues, history, etc. There's a role for those who know more. And we don't even have to go up there. In the family scenario, it was your parents. Your parents. My parents are the first people to give me pre-independence knowledge, because they were born before we were independent. I don't know that. I never experienced that. I was born sometime after. But those who were born in that era share a particular experience. Good? Like, I don't know if you know anybody who was on the train. Who rode the train.
Last train?
Yeah. My mom told me about the train. You know? My dad told me about the train. I think she had more train than him.
When was it? The last train was sometime in 65 something?
Somewhere there. We could look it up. But my point is that these things are what we say in terms of carnival are the reason for the seasons. But today, independence is synonymous with fireworks and dressing up nice. I too was excited to see Independence Parade because I like to see the uniforms as a kid.
No, but listen. Was it the year before or last year? Last year I celebrated independence, the U.S. independence, in San Diego.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing too. I mean, fireworks is a big thing.
Yes.
Just thousands of people looking to go by the convention center to stand up and watch fireworks over the sea, that kind of thing.
Yes.
It is something, and that was American independence.
Yeah.
So it's something that people would see as kind of annexed to that grand celebration of independence. But as you say, there are a lot more significance to the independence itself, and that's sometimes we lose that.
It is the same thing in America, and America does that. The American media, and I just use them as the example because British do that. If you follow these events, you'd realize there's a lot of things in the public space. There are a lot of public and civic forums before the day. The day is just the day, but all the week before, if you look at Martin Luther and the civil rights time, when that time comes around, that's in your face. It's out there. Yeah, there are discussions, there are forums, there are debates, there are presentations, there's research, there are other things that culminate in obviously the balloons and the ribbons, because we're not despising that aspect of celebration in itself. But it is easy to lose the meaning behind the ritual and be obsessed with the ritual itself. That is very easy.
Yeah, and so, that is
so what we start arguing about is buttons, shoes, grass, stand, and it is almost akin if you talk to pan men and you understand the history of pan and the struggles when steel band clash. That is a different group of pan men. The others who looking for the soca drum or it's a different generation, and they each have their particular responsibilities to bridge that gap. Otherwise, culture is eroded. Culture erodes little by little once you major on the minor. So, in our national celebrations today, you hardly hear discussions on patriotism. Which is what we need most.
Which is what we need most.
and it is the pill to sell people at that point in time. If somebody, and if our leaders...
And it depends on... It is, you say, it's the pill to sell some people at some time. And sometimes it is either harder or easier depending on which group of people is in office.
Correct.
Right? So, I mean, that is... I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head. I mean, this is so relevant. When I listen to the argument, I mean, I listened to what happened last year. I'm listening to what they are trying to do this year, and I mean, it's so hard to sell certain things, but the thing they're trying to sell is the periphery.
Yeah, and that is my disappointment. I am not against the public, and members of the public, the youths, the children, for wanting whatever they want out of it. Because that is what we have been sold. That's what has been pushed in our face. Right? Independence is fireworks. So no independence equal no fireworks. Let me make noise. That's what we've been sold. Good? And unfortunately, our leaders, in my humble view, on both sides, have done a very inhumane job when it comes to nationhood and patriotism.
But we haven't fireworks this year?
I don't even know. I thought fireworks was illegal. That discussion comes up every...
No. It's not illegal. Remember the Fireworks Act, that's illegal for a normal man to buy fireworks and use it at a particular time. Remember, at half times you could use fireworks.
Yeah.
Plus at half times you could get permission to use it also.
Yeah.
So,
and the dog people will come out and the animal lovers will come out and complain. This happens every year.
But I know the same gentleman who featured in the article today, politician that featured in the article, I know he spoke a lot about fireworks close to the zoo and how it traumatizes the animals and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he did say that maybe we should find another location, like in most of the cities in the US, where they do it like over the Hudson and they do it over in San Diego, where I was last year. They do it over the sea and that kind of thing. We have places like that could be done down Shagarama. So even down at right down in Port of Spain, downtown Port of Spain, behind the Hyatt kind of thing. But I don't know what. I haven't heard whether or not we'll be having a fireworks celebration. But I know there are some controversy with respect to the stand and where the celebration itself is going to be kept.
Well, this year the parade will be in a new northerly location in the Queen's Park Savannah, Port of Spain, facing President's House instead of the grandstand, southerly side. President Christine Kangaloo will therefore be receiving the Independence Day salute from the armed forces closer to the President's House. This was confirmed yesterday by government officials as well as United National Congress Shadow MP for Port of Spain, Philip Alexander. I don't see the relation, but anyway. Defense Minister Wayne Sturge, I could hear him, had confirmed that June mid-year budget review, that the parade launching celebrations of TNT's 64th anniversary would be held in a northerly direction. Sturge's confirmation put to rest speculation that the annual military and cultural showcase may not have been held. So we arguing north-south, right? There was no parade last year. TNT was under a state of emergency due to a threat of law enforcement, judicial and state officials. Government then stated that the parade and the state-sponsored fireworks were cancelled to protect state officials from attack. The upcoming event will be the first independence parade for the Kamala Prasad Bisasa-led United National Congress. The parade of the armed forces traditionally held at the Queen's Park Savannah Grandstand since TNT achieved independence in 1962. Uniform, detachments, etc. Yesterday, government officials and Port of Spain, Mr. Alexander, confirmed that the parade's new location, after queries of the opposition's People's National Movement MP for Port of Spain, Mr. Stuart Young. Querying work taking place in the Savannah opposite President's House, Young said on Facebook, "I was surprised to see what appears to be a significant structure being erected opposite the President's House, along with piles of aggregate and steamroller." All right. I don't even want to read.
So what? I don't know if it is in this article.
It is. It's further down.
I know I saw it in one of the articles. And what the minister was saying, the minister in the Ministry of Housing was saying, was that they wanted to...
Look at here. Alexander said, removing.
Mm-hmm. They wanted to move the parade to that location because of the stand that they have to perennially move and that kind of thing. And it's costing about $6 million to do so. Well, to me, if you're doing that but you're building something somewhere else on the green and it is taking up more savannah space. How much sense that making to me? Somebody will have to tell me the relevance of that and why it's so necessary. Because as we were saying, we could forget all that whole savannah thing and probably have that parade like in Russia and China on a street, like on South Key. You have plenty space on South Key.
You have the avenue.
You have the
Top
avenue.
to bottom.
Well, the avenue might be small for that, but South Key.
It's wide. No, it's just as wide.
Yeah?
It's just as wide.
I mean, and spend no money to build no infrastructure, that kind of thing, if money is the problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, nothing here makes real sense to me, but...
Well, I want to hear more about, and I guess that's me, our independent institutions. I want to hear more about our achievements since independence. I want to hear more about issues surrounding our sovereignty, which it daily pops up, especially with our newly re-established relationship with the U.S. Good? And our ever plaguing maritime issues. And all these things that impact on this independence that we do preach and limit and notions of it. I mean, I do agree that 962 can't look like 2026. We do know that. It's a given. And therefore, is the concept still the same? Because we do have a generation to come. And they must understand and maybe not fantasize with what happened in 62 and the years prior, because the globalization has changed the game. Globalization and making states interconnected, right? Unless you belong to the G7, and even in the G7 it have a smaller group that we all know all too well in terms of world powers. This discussion is a mute one, It is really a mute one. It is a nice notion. It is good to remember, like anything else. But for some, it's quite academic. There are too much. We talking about independence or final appellate court is still the Privy Council. Recently,
you read that article
there have been challenges within the CCJ among themselves, and somebody reminds us, oh, you see why we didn't go the way of the CCJ?
But somebody also in that same set of comments, somebody also highlighted the fact that the was it the chairman or the Bartlett issue?
Yes.
Someone also highlighted, could that be a spanner thrown in the engine?
Yeah.
Because that matter was sent to the CCJ. And some of the persons who would have raised the concerns were members of the judicial panel from Trinidad and Tobago. So all those things, but that is besides the point. I mean, in supporting what you would have said, we have to examine where we have been. What we said that we are independent from as colonials, and we are still, to a large extent, depend on the systems that they create, and not create something for ourselves to function.
And this is a deeper discussion, because we have a society, we have young people to come up, and they must understand it well. They must, because they're playing a different game now. We are going into that twilight, and I say we as wide as we can, but the constraints on independence and sovereignty are real.
Yeah,
they are very, very real. Good. So there's enough things.
And I mean, when you look at what's happening with that particular argument with respect to the CCJ and the Privy Council, what hits me almost smack bang, is the fact that Britain, we as Trinidadians, we never had to, before last year, we never had to have a visa to go Britain. You know, we now have to go, and it's even more expensive than a visa for the US.
Yeah.
Plus, it is for a limited time,
Yeah.
right? And Britain, we could almost say we are citizens of Britain,
Yeah.
Great Britain,
Yeah.
right? So they, while they are doing everything to separate us, to move us, to distinguish that we are not.
Yeah.
we keep wanting to hold on
The
to
mommy
these
just there.
institutions that really says that we really not sure about ourselves.
Because, and I think that idea is so farcical, and I've heard it from the highest officers in the country, and it's shameful that justice is better served because there's a less propensity to be corrupt because these are laws.
So who going to be corrupt? Who? So in the CCJ then, who is it we self we talking about?
Well, and that tells you how we look at our peers.
Yeah, we talking about ourselves.
And that argument is so funny because that same group of people recommended that CARICOM matter be sent to the CCJ.
Correct.
So it's an argument of convenience. So we are saying, and that tells you a lot about our self-concept and our confidence. Huh?
How we feel about
Yeah, how we see ourselves. These people in England, they can't be corrupt. We will get better work from
I
them.
remember I say that all the time. If you, I'm a consultant
Yes.
and a very qualified one at that, and I'll say that on radio. I consider myself to be very qualified in what I do, and I do only have the degrees and whatever, but I also have the experience. But you know something? A white man will come here with half of what I have, and we'll have more respect for him than we'll have somebody who living and sleeping and eating Trinidad and Tobago. No Trinidad and Tobago better than he could ever know it. And that is how we see ourselves. That's how we see. Yeah. That's how the value we ascribe to people like ourselves, I should say.
And it's so funny. It's so funny. But let me not ramble on too much. I want to hear from the members of the pavilion. What do you make of our notions of independence and the Independence Day discussions? Do you find it informative? Are you into where the parade is, north, south, east, or west? Are you into what matters to you when it comes to independence? That is what I want to know. What matters to you? The number to call is 342-0081 4665-391. Some of us like cake and ice cream, rum and roti. Some of us go the funeral and we don't know who dead. But we will cry and we will dance. and in our mind, that funeral was good, eh?
Yeah, I mean, you're saying that. Listen, I was in a funeral in Tobago.
Ooh.
In Tobago.
You had a real funeral.
Yeah, I never experienced a funeral like that. This funeral was a whole fucking day, boy. And listen, when the funeral was finished, the block off a street.
Yes.
Like a whole neighborhood. And it's food on it, real food on it. Food,
yes.
The car don't eat food on it.
Yeah.
That's a funeral.
Yeah, we have been so caught up. So tell me, call me, members of the pavilion, 342-0081 4665-391. Don't be ashamed to say you like the fireworks. Don't be ashamed to say you like the firemen. You know? Don't be ashamed to say that too. You like to see, I remember when as younger, I like to see the guns, you know, and you say, "Oh, good, Daddy, check that big gun." You know, that's small children, you know.
No, but do not also downplay the importance that the icon,
Yeah,
is that the fireworks to a large extent, because to a large extent we always, fireworks is always synonymous with independence in Trinidad, because just like it is in most other countries.
Most other countries have it
right?
too.
So that too, I mean, if people would feel if you take away that, you kind of take away part of...
But Stephen, I'm unforgiving. As you grow older, you have to put things in the right perspective. Leave that for the kids and don't take it away. But as you go older, good, and as I grow older, I cared less for the fireworks. And some of us going Independence Day for the little hug up. We going in a little lookout, we going in a little, you know. Some of us, it's different reasons, and you're at different stages in life. But the more mature ones of us, especially those of you who went through pre-independence hardship, those of you who were part of that era of sacrifice and toil and flambeau, good, and petrol tin, those of you who have seen...
And Kabai.
Correct.
You would remember
Good.
that.
No, I didn't remember that at all. I come and meet electricity. Some of you worked with the moon and the sun, and that is what you know. And candle and petrol. You have a duty to teach and to pass on the true significance of things. You can't be upset with the young people or vex with them for that. Their appreciation of these things will only come through the passing on of oral history. And we ain't talking about the curriculum and the school book. We will learn about Columbus. We ain't going through that at all. So give me a call. The number to call is 342-0081, 4665391. What matters to you the most as it concerns independence? Independence Day. You know, for some people, it is also heartening to see the awards. I can't forget the awards of the different national awards. Yeah, where the I haven't seen the list. I not yet. I don't know if that has been published yet of those who will be recipients of national awards. I always have problems with these things being done and then hurrah. You know, I think there should be much public discourse about this in the period leading up. And maybe there is. But what matters to you the most when it comes to Independence Day? What matters to you the most, members of the pavilion? Or what you think? You know, you may not have a view on it, but what is your view on what really... Are we putting the cart before the horse? North, south, we're talking about grass. If the pitch small, you know, how much gravel, and where do you place your emphasis? Where do you think? What matters to you? Give me a call. The number to call is 342-0081, 4665391. Good afternoon, caller.
Matterson. Yeah, I think independence, I mean, it should be a time for reflection and contemplation. And what I look at as to where we, as you said earlier on, where we were, where we are today, and where we want to go, is a time for you to evaluate, you know, the achievements and whatnot. That is not the case in Trinidad. I think most people just look forward to parade, and probably, as you said, this business with respect to that they have at night, that the flares and whatnot in the night, you know, and probably the awards, which, I mean, most of us would have to look at the awards from home, from within your home. So I don't know, it doesn't really make much sense. The only time I saw a sort of rejuvenation in terms of the interest in independence was when you had the 25th anniversary, where the Calypsonians were saying questions were asked about our achievement and whether it was worth the asking in terms of independence. So I don't know. To me, it doesn't make much sense, because even around Independence Day, I mean, you have certain national songs, building songs, you know, inspirational songs and calypso. You had the street band of the 60s and 70s, and I'm not stars. They played very good music. You had all the, you know, nothing. The day is just, I mean, it passed. It could be very boring. So I don't know where we're going with that, and I think that even the national radios, the radio station, those belonging to the state, they should play a bigger role in terms of national development, in terms of the music that they play. And Nonsense. Nothing really. You have songs sung by people like Bryna. You had people like Sparrow. You had Kitchener. All these people singing national songs on independence and all that, and even after independence, nothing is played. You know, even in the communities, there are no activities taking place. There's no competition in terms of people writing essays and things in terms of independence. It's just a waste of time, as far as I'm concerned, because all people want, some want to go up there to boo, some of them want to go, and that's where we are. So I don't know. I really can't say that, it's meaningful. I don't know. And then also the question you talk about the awards. I have my problems with the awards because the awards and people who get awards, I don't even know what they do for the community, what they do for in terms of national development, nation building. I don't know where they come from. Most of them seem to be based on friends and who were within that privileged class. So that's where it is, and it's a reflection. If you look at the Senate, the people in the Senate, they really don't. The only sign you know that they exist is when you look at the debate, you know that those people, you say, who is this, who is that, who is this, and what the appointments should be. I hope I'm not straying that much. People who would have excelled in various fields, and people would have known them. People have known people like Spence and those people in the days gone by. Louis Horn, yes, you have your problem and you have your difficulties with them, but in fact you knew them. Right? Here's the word. They were active in community. You may have your views about her, but when you have people there and they make very important decisions with respect to to this country and this country's development, and you ask what were these people's contribution? These are the things. So we need to get things right, and I don't think today we have to probably try to think about where we are with respect to independence and what independence should mean for us, and what the things, the activities that we should generate in order to motivate and inspire people in this country. Otherwise, we'll go on through. I just want to take one thing about with respect to this CCJ, if you would allow me, and that is, you have 15 members of CARICOM, and you have only 3 members, I think, who are part of, because you have the appellate jurisdiction and you have the original jurisdiction. But how many countries, again, look, Jamaica have had about 3 or 4 referenda with respect to whether they should go to the CCJ. Grenada had about, probably 4. And they say, no, they ain't going there. And there are other countries who are, Guyana, I think, was one of the countries that went to accepted the jurisdiction of the CCJ. But it is not, generally, it is not accepted by CARICOM members.
Yeah.
So this is what, except for the CSNE, right? We're talking about the common external tariff and all that.
Why do you think so, Caller? And
but I think it's a matter of trust.
Okay, we're going for a break. We're going for a break. When we come back from the break, maybe you could rejoin us and we will continue this discussion.
All right.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Peace of God be multiplied unto you in the precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is Redemption Hour, a gospel program where God will reveal His mind to you on how to live a fulfilled life and to please Him in all areas. Join Pastor Femi Afolabi, the National Overseer of Deeper Christian Life Ministry, Trinidad and Tobago, and other seasoned ministers for a time of divine encounter as they minister and pray for you every Saturday by 9 o'clock in the morning of this station, Street FM 91.9. Our church is Deeper Life Bible Church, number 1 Cochrane Street, opposite Tunapuna Police Station, Tunapuna. The times of our services are as follows. Sunday worship service, 9 a.m. Monday Bible study, 6 p.m. Thursday revival hour, 6 p.m. The redemption hour is a life-changing moment you cannot afford to miss. For special prayer or counseling, contact Pastor Femi Afolabi on 778-9933. God bless you as you listen to this program. Jesus is Lord.
When every hand start waving, this KFC a craving. Extra crispy or spicy, it blazing. So when it comes to flavor, you know we can't lose. It's popcorn chicken in 3 kinds of sauce. So you dip on, you dip on, you dip on, you dip. KFC popcorn chicken, make you dance while you dip. Yes, you dip on, you dip on, you dip on, you dip. Somebody bring the KFC quick, I'm telling you. Get your hands on KFC's extra crispy or spicy popcorn chicken, starting at just $35. Or grab the winning combination, 3 pieces of chicken and 4 tenders for $79.95. KFC, it's finger licking good.
KFC onion rings, bring the sauce, bring the sauce. Come to the crunch like a boss, like a boss. Add a ring, show me onion ring, onion ring, onion ring, onion ring, ding. Show me your onion ring, it's a ding, ding. Yes, it's a brand new thing called onion ring. Level up your order. Onion ring, chicken sandwich full of flavor. Add a ring to your twister. Somebody better one and tell the neighbor.
Show off your ring at KFC with the new onion ring chicken sandwich for $34.95. Or get a regular side of rings for just $15.
Add a ring, and every ding, ding. Add a ring, KFC onion ring.
KFC, show me your ring.
TechFlex TT Limited, the #1 computer store in Trinidad and Tobago, has all your tech needs. We have the latest computers, powerful MacBooks, and affordable Chromebooks for school and work, providing new and refurbished options to suit everyone's budget. Also, we carry a variety of printer options and ink solutions for your home and office needs. Need repairs done? Our experienced technicians can solve your tech problems. Visit us now at any of our 2 locations, Wilson Road, Scarborough, next to Royal Castle, or Penco Street, Montrose, Chagonas. Call 235-4919 for more info. TechFlex TT Limited. Affordable tech. Exceptional service.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday
from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM.
Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
It's KFC in the cricket. Crunch up that crunch, crunch up that crunch, crunch up that crunch. Doing it the KFC way. Crunch up that crunch, crunch up that crunch, crunch up that crunch. TKR all the way. Passion inside the way. Bringing the energy. It's chicken for all the way. KFC got way. When we come out to play, nothing can bother way. Winning is part the way. TKR all the way. Grab your maximum crunch bucket today with 6 pieces of chicken, 1 regular popcorn chicken, 4 regular sides for only $144.95. Crunch after crunch with KFC.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Well, you know, we have faithful listeners. So one of my listeners, she's reminding me that the public nomination process for the national awards of Trinidad and Tobago typically closes in the first half of the year, with submission deadline having passed on May the 15th via an online portal in the Office of the Prime Minister. And the officially chosen nominees are finalized by the National Awards Committee and publicly revealed around Republic Day. So it's revealed around Republic Day. when the official ceremony take place and not Independence Day. That was a old time ago. Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon again. I think Mr. Martinson asked as to why I believe or I think that the Caribbean people are not accepting or appear not to be accepting of the CCJ. And there are a lot of arguments that have been put for and against, pros and cons, arguments for and against the retention of the abolition of appeals going to the Privy Council. And that's another issue. It's long, and one of the things I suspect, and one of the things I heard people make comments on, is the question of whether they can trust the CCJ. Some people may believe that the jurisprudence again hasn't been sufficiently developed. In fact, in I think somewhere in 2005 or thereabout, I did a paper on that in Barbados. And with respect to the advantages and the disadvantages argument with respect to the retention of the Privy Council. So I don't know, but one has to look carefully as to not the debate, but the contention that seems to be building up within the CCJ itself. And there are some articles in the newspaper that people, should try to familiarize themselves with, because it speaks to that. The fact remains is that, what it's saying is that the president of the CCJ seems to have some dictatorial tendency and all that. So that kind of thing, and so there's tension and there's contention, within the functioning or the operation of the CCJ. So that is, I think, and what one is seeing, I think Aris Balkan, I think he's Guyanese, I think he's one of the jurists there, and he's saying that what has happened is that it meets with what the Prime Minister of this Trinidad and Tobago was saying about the CCJ. But it seemed to be, it's something that is worthy for people, it's worthy that people read that. And 2 o'clock this afternoon, I think I look at what is trending in the newspaper. You have other matters coming up, and you have the jurors, because I think you have 3 judges, and 5 of the judges spoke out against Winston Anderson. He used to lecture at Clayville there. He lectured in conflict of law, private international law there, and they are saying that they are objecting to his style of leadership, the way he runs the thing. And so it's something that people should really try to understand, get an understanding as to where it is today, that CCJ. So people have expressed their
Caller, if we had to discuss that in any place any significance to that particular argument, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yeah. It all sounds like, to me, the expose, the thing that went in the newspaper, sounded to me like a personal issue with respect to the Chief Justice, right, of the CCJ. It sounded to me like a personal issue, because when you talk about, when they spoke about the ability of, or how the Chief Justice seems to be imposing himself on the team or on the panel with respect to issues, the Chief Justice only has 1 vote. So it negates the argument that to some extent he is a dictator in that area. And then they spoke about the fact that he would have sent out a memo, something that would go to the committee at large to address the dress code of judges. Well, in my opinion, that was for him to do. And not only for him to do, he didn't say, he wasn't dictatorial in saying this is what we're going to do. He sent it out for discussion.
Yeah, but what the thing about it is that I think somebody, I think Ari Balkan and those people, and some people are calling for some inquiry or something, so with respect to the operation or the function of the CCJ. And they have gone verbatim in terms of what he would have said, what he would have written and all that, the emails that was circulated and all that. I don't want to speculate, but I'm saying it's worthy of some kind of investigation or something with respect to how things are being done there. So I am not going to speculate. I am not going to. The fact remains that the accusations were made, and it is. I think that there should be an investigation into the operation. Same thing as in Trinidad. Yeah, people make concerns about Archie and all that kind of thing. The retired Chief Justice. And what was required is an inquiry. And what is required there, I think, is an inquiry. You can't, I am not going to speculate, say people, there's no evidence for me to say that people are, I'm not going to speculate, I'm not going to engage in conspiracy theory. I go by what it is, what is stated. What he has said that they quoted him, they quoted the people, the 5 judges who made statements against him. And to me, I am not going to take any side. Investigate that.
And one of them was a Trinidad judge, right? Justice Sam Ramada, who he serves on that panel also.
Yes, Ramada and those people. You had people from you had some Jamaican there who Guyanese, and they were they carry African titles, their names and all that. So I don't want to talk about race and all that. I don't want to infuse that into that. The fact remains is that you have both African and Indian judges who would have complained against the way the demands operate or run the business of the CCJ. And I am saying that I am not going to do everything talk about race and hope and prejudice. No, investigate the thing. I'm not going to put race into that kind of thing and say so and so. No, we can't go that way, because it's the same thing people were talking about. From the inception, people say that we will not join in because we don't have enough Indians there and all that kind of thing, which I don't think was a good argument. But I'm saying that as it is, I am not going to continue along that path. What we need is to do is to have an inquiry or investigation into the whole thing. What is actually taking place within the CCJ?
Now might be a good time to do that. But to me, the argument that is coming out, the statements that are made by Caribbean nationals now, as this would have come to the public, is as if to say that we are not adequate enough. We are not able to do what we should do as a Caribbean people to have a final court of appellate to deal with our issues. And to me, that is a problem.
And the questions, let me add to that further. Our doubt and our questions seem to be surrounded infallibility. And that is not an issue. Infallibility should never be an issue because it's law. It's not because, or it's not based on. So our argument in its very simplistic form is geographical. Justice is better served in England because it's further away from Trinidad.
and they don't know us.
That is one of the arguments for the retention of the Privy Council. That is
Yes.
one of the arguments put forward.
Yes.
And I hear, when I look at it here, and the argument is that most of these people come out of these islands, those islands and that kind of thing. They know each other, judges know each other, and some of them went to same Cave Hill and all these local university, and they know each other. And you have, again, the smallest. And then you have I have seen in this country where politicians, their hands very long, they stretch their hand into so-called, quote-unquote, independent institutions. So and this is what has me scared over the last 9-10 years. The ease with which people can in fact interfere with, and the CCJ is supposed to be an independent institution, and the way we do business in this country. that argument could be bolstered.
Well, my contention is the issue there's not geography. The issue there's character.
Is what?
It's character.
Yes,
If we are saying that we are more susceptible to a certain type of social pressure, that is an internal issue.
Yeah, but you see what if you look at what the people were saying, that first argument that was proposed or put forward, offered by, let's say, Caribbean people. If you look at the what is going on there now, I think it supports their position with respect to the way they think and the way they see the CCJ. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think the thing has to be dealt with, and the sooner they deal with it, the better. But I am one who's saying yes, because if the very said you want to move from England, yes, the argument could be have our jurisprudence developed to the extent that because we still be dependent upon the jurisprudence of the UK. We still would be dependent upon the jurisprudence of the UK. All these, when I talk about the laws, the case laws and all these things, the judicial decisions and whatnot, for how many years we still depend on that. Our jurisprudence hasn't developed sufficiently. So all these things, and those are arguments that people could put forward.
Well, my problem is this. We came up with the whole idea of the CCJ. It wasn't the man on the street, it's not the coconut vendor, he was none the wiser. It wasn't the British. It is the same bright people. When we asked them what they did for the weekend in the Bahamas or wherever they had the summit, in terms of deeper movement towards Caribbean integration, regional integration, we came up with different forms of integration. Economically via the CSME and judicially via the CCJ. Yet we came up with all the reasons why we must not do what we came up with. That for me is paradoxical and very cynical.
Yes, you could argue that. The thing about it here is this, is that who is seeking justice? Who is going before the court for justice? 90% of the matters going before the court that will be going before that CCJ, and matters going before the Privy Council comes from the little man. And even if you're looking at criminal matters, criminal law, if in fact this is what we're talking about, how many people from the upper strata of the society goes before the Privy Council or will be going before the CCJ to have matters determined? How many? The little man who go in there, he doesn't even understand what's going on. But the people who make decisions and who make decisions that would affect the outcome of matters is the upper class. The middle and upper class, not even the middle, the upper class.
So you're making a case for the CCJ?
What you say?
You're making a case for the CCJ then?
No, well, I'm saying that the people who are concerned or who probably demonstrate some concern with respect to what is going on with the, I don't know if they're conscious of it, but I'm just arguing that they are affected and they would be affected greatly, and even more than those people at the upper strata, even though you have people who may be involved, may have contractual matters because most of them involved in business and whatnot, and they would want to see their matters that disputes, right, in terms of business and trade and all these things settled, fairly, right, and so they have an interest too. But I'm saying that the people who would be impacted in terms most with respect to the criminal law as a whole, and the contract law. We talk about those people at the upper strata or the upper strata of the society. I'm saying that they ought to be a little more concerned because you're talking about life and death penalty. You're talking about people who could be put away for 40 years, 50 years, and all that kind of thing. So they may be concerned with respect to the way the operation or the functioning of the CCJ.
Yeah, well, I do understand the need for concern. And no institution is without concern, because even in England, in Britain, when the British public ready, the final appellate court will let's get the little big stone. Don't feel because it's their final court, it is not without criticism. It is not beyond criticism and speculation. I think we have a cultural problem, which we don't see in other societies. The American Supreme Court is always criticized. But that does not result in a lack of faith in the judicial system. We akin the two.
Well, the thing about it is you do have people who would question even the American Supreme Court of America. There are people who really, because you see, the thing is politically, because the president is the one, if you realize the way they appoint the judges and what to the appeal court and the Supreme Court, right? The president is the one who makes the nomination and that kind of thing. In Trinidad, we have a Judicial and Legal Service Commission, right, who determines who is going to sit on the bench and who is going to be elevated up to the appeal court and all that. So America is different, and people have their concerns about the method or the system that is used, or the method that is used to appoint judges to the court, to the bench. In England, they are much more vigilant, and you have different bodies outside within the society who would give their views with respect to matters that might have been decided, and they will say whether it's right or whether it's wrong, and what they believe about it. And you have things like reviews. The reviews taking place because you had sometime recently you had this person who was the two little boys who killed someone, and the court imposed a sentence, and they had to review the whole thing because they find it was too lenient.
Yeah.
And it was because of the public uproar and different organizations, judicial bodies and watch groups and whatnot, that the matter, they raised their concern and they had to review the matter.
Yeah.
That don't happen here.
Yeah.
That don't happen here. That would happen where people have, again, with respect to the privileged class.
Yeah.
We had people who would have been charged for all kind of fraud and all kind of things. You had certain bodies here that would agitate or advocate on their behalf, but this doesn't happen for everybody in the society, the poor man especially. And you know what I speak about? And that person was able to get a pardon. Pardon. I think he was in the judiciary itself, in the judicial system itself. So things are not fairly done as some people would want to make us believe. Right?
Well, I don't look at those things as weaknesses of the system. The American president pardoned some people who they say were his friends, but he had the authority to. And that is what you call presidential pardon in its truest form. I do not accede to the view that weaknesses suggest that a system is unworkable, and I do not suggest that
weaknesses in the operations of the system.
And I don't think that it has nothing to do with geographical location. It has to do with how we see justice, maybe the antecedents of what has happened, and our own character. This is a small place, so everybody taking a bribe, everybody pay something. Nothing could happen anymore in Trinidad.
Well, you see, the thing about it, CCJ is really a very young institution. New.
Yeah.
Right? It's still in its I want to put it, in its early phases in terms of development.
Yeah.
And you're going to have, nothing is perfect, and you're going to have certain weaknesses showing itself up, and what we need to do is to correct it.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm saying that the inquiry would be welcome.
Well, maybe we need to house them somewhere in Australia, where people will not be able to bribe them, and then we will believe that you can't reach them, because how could you reach Australia? Which to me is I mean, I know it's a point of cynicism, but it's what we think. We believe that because the law lords are in Britain and England and they're not anybody cousin or uncle or wife, they must be true.
Yeah, but what I'm saying here is that the justice is really is for the people. And it's for the people to say, because the question in Trinidad and Tobago, they were trying to abolish the jury system. But the jury system, based on the premise that man will be judged by his peers.
Correct.
And what has happened, and that evolved over that from Britain. And in Trinidad here, they want to take that with one sweep. They want trial by just a judge, right? Trial by judge only. That is where they were thinking about. I don't think we have reached there because we have trial by we can opt to be tried before jury.
For me, interference must be proven. It just can't. I don't swallow just the allegation, because you could always make that allegation, but about interference in any particular system.
Yeah, you need to get the evidence.
Because we have that disposition. The person who wins, say thank God, God was on their side, and the person who loses blames the devil or the system.
Yeah, that is Trinidad.
And that is how we are.
Yeah, that's how we are. We speculate a lot and we quick to move towards conspiracy theories.
And we are cynical like that even in our cultural realms.
Yeah, because I just want to say this, is that what I'm saying here, I'm not saying what, I'm not looking at it, I just conjure up those arguments there.
Yeah. I don't know a year when Calypso Fiesta did not end in controversy. Because somebody always thief for somebody.
Yeah. Well, I think they're less with that now. But you see, the thing about the talk show hosts and certain people encourage that.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. We like that.
And you see it on talk show. People come and they talk all kind of things. And people say, yes, man. Yes, boy, you go to the front of the class. And all this other nonsense. You know where I'm coming from? And so they encourage that. They want to look, that isn't so, that
and Nancy.
That never happened. That went to evidence. When you read that,
correct.
They
Correct.
don't do that.
Correct.
They so they encourage that, and it has taken root in the society.
Yes.
Everybody feels that they could just sit down home on a morning, sit down and say, well, look, I feel so,
Yeah.
But I think that is that, and they just go out there and spew a set of mischief in the place.
Yeah.
And that has become, that is how we see it. But I realize that your program, and I think another program on this station, they ask, where did you get that from? Where did you read that? Cite your source. And so I'm not, those people who are ignoring those basics, they are just encouraging the country to go further down and down and down. Thanks again, and Mr. Warlock.
Okay, thank you, caller.
Yeah.
So caller, if you are listeners, if you are hardly hearing some of the callers, we are having some technical difficulties in studio. Our producer is
we're trying to minimize it. But tell me, what do you expect? What features to you in this whole independence setup? What is important to you? The number to call is 342-008-1466-5391. What is important to you? What stands out to you, or nothing at all? You lost all sense of affinity with this whole thing that we call independence in Trinidad and Tobago. For some of us, it's just another day. For some of us, we have to wear all in red. We are nationalistic and we feel like that. And for some people, it's another day. It's another day, a holiday, for want of a better word. What matters to you when it comes to independence? National independence, Trinidad and Tobago independence. What matters to you? What are you into all this discussion about North Stand, South, the grass versus the savannah and the pitch? And what matters to you, or what do you think should feature? What should be some features or some important things that we insist on. Because other things will change. Venues might change. Format might change. One year we might go left to right. The other year we might go right to left. And those are the things that stir us. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, I just want to make a short little statement.
Yes, go ahead.
Based on the question you're asking, which is, we have replaced substance in this country with ceremony, right? In a number of different things. We lack substance and just replace it with ceremony. I hope that is clear enough for many to understand.
Yes.
I love to understand.
Yes, thank you, caller. Well said. Very short to the point. Substance versus ceremony. We like to dress up. Dress up.
But as I say,
yeah,
this is kind of like, this is not even a lot of what is happening now would not necessarily happen when the next group of people is in office, right? I like to approach this from a more granular perspective sometimes, because I live Trinidad and Tobago. I see what happens with change of government. I see what happens with different, how we treat each other, how we see each other. If you read the Gonzalez, the Marvin Gonzalez article, with we need to urge to rise above race baiting and that kind of thing. I mean, it's as if he is kind of saying that the Prime Minister used the word coolie in a way as if to attribute those statements coming from the PNM. And while it might have been statements coming from a private conversation by two people that became public, and it really showed the people of Trinidad and Tobago how sometimes you really think behind closed doors and that kind of thing. And that might be so, but sometimes these politicians, they adopt a kind of, without the necessary moral authority to do so, because you remember when this guy from the BTM, what's his name, Marcel, made this statement. I haven't heard none of them. I don't know if any of them came about. I didn't see an article where anyone of them came and apologized for what the gentleman said, and I haven't heard the gentleman said it. And in fact, he said if he have an opportunity, he'll do it again. Right? To me, that, when he said them, and he said we and them, I wasn't hearing PNM and UNC. Right? I was hearing something else. And anybody else who was listening to it, of course, was hearing something else. Right? Because we attribute the yellow party to be an Indian party. And we attribute the red party to be a predominantly African party, which in truth and in fact is not so. And to a large extent, politicians use race, all of them on both sides, but I don't want to say who does it most, but all of them use it. And they use it in time when they want a certain kind of support. And that is unfortunate. And all of that should tell us something. When we talk about the significance of independence, we should be able to move way, way, way ahead of that. Long, long time.
Yeah, and I'm very disappointed at the level of national discourse when it comes to certain things. You throw your tantrum and throw your peacock. But there are certain things we should hold sacred. Look at other societies.
Correct.
Look at other places. They have their banter.
Even we know, and we would say from Trinidad here, we would say to America, mainstream America. You look at the rise of Trump, and you would say mainstream America is, you could say, they're very racial.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't hear this kind of argument in the U.S. in any significant way.
And when it comes, I mean, I know the political system is different, but when it comes to holding the president to account, as much fans as he has in his Republican Party, he is crucified by members of the Republican Party as well.
Correct.
Don't get wax. It is not that all the Republicans follow Mr. Trump blindly. They're not like that. America is not like that. There have been significant bipartisan movement. And it is the same in British politics. Mr. Starmer had his supporters. But even within his own party, hence he no longer
is in office. Correct.
Because his own party held him to a standard. Listen to me. You are going to get us out of office. So before we go, you go. The way you're going, we are all going to end up out of office. Do the honorable thing. Give us a break. Simple. That was a corollary of external pressure, media pressure. But let us not discount the fact of responsible politics, where your party, your group, your peers says to you, enough is enough. You are our leader. It's not a lack of love, or it's not a feelings thing. We're going the wrong way, and you'll lead us over the cliff, and we rather not. And you take your exit. So this...
That is what independence
represents
to me.
And this way we have to follow the shepherd over the cliff. All the sheep must jump over the cliff because of them, or because of notions of we and them and we. We must all go over the cliff together. It is the reason why, and I want to segue into our next story, why I found it very, very, very perplexing. This whole story about the inactive gas line and the no threat to the police post at Eddie Hart. Because I am for accountability and transparency. I do think the state could rise above some of the pettiness in terms of procedure. And that happens on both sides. If you're in Trinidad longer than the last 10 years, you know, that is something we practice.
And by the way, both of them is the state, eh?
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Right? The relationship between the regional corporations and central government is always a political one. It just changes when government changes.
Yes.
The stories change, the complaints change. 10 years ago or some years ago, we were hearing about certain UNC areas which were underfunded and etc. It keeps changing. And the public plays into it with the them and the we issue. But for heaven's sake, this is a discussion about crime. This was a scenario. Let me put it in its most simplistic form. We all agree that a state of emergency is not a crime plan. We all agree that a state of emergency is not a crime plan. Please come up with a plan. So, for whatever it's worth, whether it's a recycle plan, half a plan, it is yet to be seen. The state has come up with their plan. Day one in the plan ain't gone yet. The baby ain't born yet.
Yeah. I was having that same conversation with a couple of days ago, where we police posts in Lavant. I said, well, wait now. On one hand, you're currently government and saying that if the passes so thing, they will be going in black neighborhoods and taking advantage of people and all that kind of. Now they put it down police post, you begging for a police post in Lavant.
and it's police posts all over the country. Right? I am not getting into the mechanics of how it was done and the administration of the thing. But really and truly, is there not a scenario where we all will benefit?
Correct.
Do you lose by what? Are you getting into NGC and the pipeline?
You lose by the police are being wrong?
Yeah.
You can't lose?
I don't understand that. The state and NGC and all the different players and the bodies will work out the mechanics of whatever is to happen. And I do understand the call for transparency and the need to get certain things verified. That is okay.
It's as if we
But
are
do
saying,
you shoot it down?
Yeah, it's as if we are saying nothing you do, you are
Yeah.
qualified to do that.
Yeah. Unless the idea comes from me.
Unless the idea comes from me, it will make sense and we will support it. But anything you do with crime, although you might be doing something and crime going wrong, you are qualified to do that. You can't talk about crime.
Because I was listening to some of the residents and the people in the Eddie Hart area, the Savannah, and they were talking about robberies and the certain things that have been happening in the area. Good. They were talking about, they're glad for the little police post. Let me try something. Let's try it. If it fails or we assess it, we reassess it. But let us try something. But if everything you try before the air balloon takes off,
You try to shut it down, try to burst it.
somebody bursts the balloon. What do we really want? A gentleman said that this is a hard place to govern, and he wasn't a UNC
It
person,
was
eh?
not UNC. But with all of that, let us not discount the reason for the argument, and that is the gas line.
Yeah.
Now, I am sure they could do something different. Maybe they could move it. They could put it somewhere else because it's just a small space and the gas line run all through the place. But the noise they're making about that, to me, is really, really, really young.
No, but the gas line is inactive. It's not an active gas line.
It's inactive.
There's no gas in the line. That's the report.
Oh, so it was a gas line there.
Years ago. And we are so mischievous. That could not be news. Because that corporation belongs to a particular party. Good? So that could not be news that the gas line is inactive. But again, when people feed you information and you just repeat what they repeat, you end up in things like this.
Wow.
The chairman of NGC said last night, I myself, after I got my report, at 9 o'clock, went to inspect what was going on based on the reports I received, just to ensure that what was being told to me, without me being a qualified engineer, I went there myself to ensure that what I was told to me was carried out. And I was satisfied by the reports from the operations department when I attended there last night, that there's no danger to public. So there's no issue. I'm not faulting anybody for being concerned. But the facts did not appear. It was always a condemned gas line after a while. But some of us have a problem for every solution. Some of us have a problem for every solution. And we take great pride in doing that. On Friday, Austin disclosed the presence of the gas pipeline and said that the corporation supported the establishment of police posts. Okay, so the chairman of the corporation said he supported the post but wanted the process to be more transparent, lawful, and properly coordinated. That is an email. There is no problem in what he said. You understand? He wants to be involved. He's the chairman of the corporation. It falls within the corporation. And I agree with that. But that's an email. That is an email. That is not a protest. That is not a furor. The things that we allow to boil in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, I could go more on about what goes on in Eddie Hart grounds, because I've had personal experience with the pain caused to athletes after a certain group holds a fete on a convention on the grounds. I did witness athletes who were injured by steel spikes. Good? But that will be being a lot petty. The point is we have a crime problem. We do have a national problem that is besides the best efforts of the police, and hats off to the hardworking police officers who give their lives, you know, and put their lives in danger as part of their duties. We do have an issue. It's a people issue as well. We do have a problem, and we need a crime plan, and the government is about to try this initiative. I will be the first to clap for it, and I will be the first to assess it in my own mind and from my own experience. But we want to hear from you, callers. How do you feel about the police posts being established around the nation as a crime initiative? We can't assess it yet because it has not been implemented. But is it an idea that you welcome, you're open to try?
I'd really like to hear the answers to this.
You are open to try. Sometimes, well, you know, senior, when because we do dispute resolution. Workers and companies, some people are just disagreeable. Are we a disagreeable society? Nothing would work. Maybe if Jesus came here, we will lock him up. We will say, use not Jesus. We might say, Jesus, use up E&M. Or you might use a UNC.
You're not from here.
You're not from here. We don't know you. Where you from? Some of us cannot be appeased. Is that the society we are living in at all? A gentleman said that this is a very difficult place to govern. This wicked and easy, you know. If you want to try your hand. If you feel it is an easy wicket to bat on.
But they keep running in. Some of them are career politicians.
Some of them are career.
I'm talking to the politicians since I know them. And
They survive. Whether they make duck
and they're making noise.
Or one and they're making noise.
They're making noise to come
and some just come in and feel like Lara.
Yeah.
You just come in. You make a good 10 runs or 20 runs. What do you think about the government's crime initiative around the country? The police post initiative. Give me your views. Are you willing to try? Are you pessimistic? What do you think about the government's move? Hopefully it's signaling a move away from those SOE type of things. I guess it will work in tandem for a while, and maybe they will relent and go deeper. Let me hear you. What are your views? 342-0081, 466-5391. The number to call is 342-0081, 466-5391. How do you feel about the government's new crime initiative? And do you have any particular concerns? You could share it, because no idea is infallible. That doesn't mean it's not a good idea. So because there was a pipeline, it doesn't mean you shouldn't put the police post there. You know, the two are, I don't understand an argument. It's so simplistic, you know. Wow, this is crazy. But you are the expert here. In your community, where you live, in your area, in your neck of the woods, your neighborhood, would you welcome that police post setup? Would you welcome that as a crime initiative? Or are there other things you feel must go along with it? And I suspect that is just the first phase of it. Not much of this meets the public, you know.
Well, I know for sure the last caller we had here, he would be one who would support that holistically, because he's been asking for police visibility for quite some time now.
Good afternoon, caller.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm glad when I get to hear what Alexander and them going to do everybody day, what they're doing to help crime, what they're doing to help crime, whether they help or whether what I mean, they're trying something, they try to do something to help these fellas according to Ian Allen. He said them bandits on them. That is the work they're doing to live. Extortion, kidnapping, house breaking, house invasion, you plug in somebody bracelet there, you go, you grab a chain there. He said that is the work, that is a job they're doing to live with that. So when, if even though a little bit under control, we trying to, Alexander trying to change them too. But dog that fucking head, they don't leave the habit, so thank you.
Okay. So call us on 342-0081. Thank you, Granny. And let's hear what's your position on this crime plan. And if in fact you think it is a worthy crime plan for us to explore at this time. These police booths in areas, especially areas that are considered troubled areas, areas that are hotspots, areas that where there is a certain frequency of criminal activity taking place. Do you feel that the government should pursue the plan to put down these booths in these areas? Call us. Let's hear what you think about the furor that were raised with the booth, in particular the one that was being placed on the Etihad grounds. Many of us were, to a large extent, were complaining about the fact that we are under a state of emergency and the government seems to be using a state of emergency perpetually as a crime plan. Well, we are seeing that the government is doing something different now. This is separate and apart from the state of emergency, but putting down physical infrastructure to ensure that even after the state of emergency, that crime is kept under control. And we are hearing in some areas, we are hearing people complaining, we are hearing the plan even finished. We even see where the plan going as yet. But we are hearing people complaining about certain things. As a matter of fact, so much so it has become a public debate on these particular booths. And I would like to hear what you have to say, because over the weekend there were a lot of talk about the one that is going on in Etihad ground, and in particular over a pipeline, a gas line that is almost non-existent. I was having a discussion with a neighbor of mine a few days ago, and he was saying that he needed to see one of that. Was the proposal for one of that in Laventille? And I was telling him, well, they do already have crime in Laventille again, in the way it used to. Crime has migrated significantly. But that was the same guy who was talking about when the government was talking about putting or enacting the ZOSO legislation, was saying that persons in communities like Laventille will be disadvantaged with police boots on the people's neck. So it's strange. Sometimes we complain about something, and then when it is presented to us in ways that are very logical and practical, we complain about that too. The number to call is 342-0081 or 466-5391. We are talking this evening independence, we are talking crime, and we are talking solutions. Let's hear what you have to say on this particular issue that we raised earlier on, and that is in relation to the crime fighting plan as opposed to the state of emergency. How do you feel about the government initiative to put these police booths in areas where there may be a propensity to have high crime or criminal activity? And why do you feel it may not work for the people of Trinidad and Tobago or the people in the communities? What else? I remember a caller who called earlier on, he always said that to a large extent, one of the things that would more than likely work for the people of Trinidad and Tobago would be more police visibility in the areas. Good evening, caller. Caller, good evening.
Good afternoon, Mr. Madison. And to your listeners. Mr. Madison, this initiative by the government is actually a great one for the country in terms of what it's going through with crime. However, you have always said that a lot of things have to be done simultaneously in order to get the desired result. So just merely having these things erected and having police and soldiers there is only a portion of what needs to be implemented, right? As we continue to say, there needs to be some sort of higher levels of accountability, if it's the body cams at least, right? And other measures to ensure that you try to have as many of these officers working on the same page, because it will make no sense if we just have all these resources all over the country and you still have officers that are running afoul of the law or adding to the issues. And in some instances, we really don't see the type of efforts from the TTPS to really treat with certain things. In some instances, it seems like they prefer to try to save face and cover certain things, right? It's not 100% bad with them, but they have to take responsibility for the monster that the TTPS that is, would have created over the years while they were operating.
Well, caller,
right? But
caller, stay on the line. I would agree with you 100%, and we say this all the time, that a lot of things have to be done side by side. It has to be a multiplicity of initiatives that would assist in reducing the state of crime and criminal activities in Trinidad and Tobago. But I want to say also that I've been noticing quietly that some of the things that we are asking for are actually being done without fanfare. Because I'm seeing a lot of police moving with body cams. I'm seeing that. I don't know if you have noticed it, but I'm seeing a lot of police officers using it and moving with it. So it could be that they are gradually moving into that direction. What I would want to see also is more police and community policing. Remember we spoke about community policing a few days ago, and sometime last week. And I think that to a large extent is the answer, or will solve a big chunk of the problem. If the police know the community, then intimately, then it will be very difficult for certain kind of crimes to take place. And I heard about the Jamaica experience, and to a large extent, that is what would have turned around the situation in Jamaica. But
Mr. Matteson, these measures that you outlined, of course, it will show some level of progress, right? Because if police are securing the communities that they live in and these kind of things, what you will be having is a number of things they're being able to accomplish, which is a higher detection rate, right? A higher rate of persons choosing to engage in more positive activities as opposed to the negative ones that we see that many people choosing so easily. If the police get involved...
Let me come back.
And so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Team Colors of We and Gold Diggers Entertainment present Cheers to Life X. When we say X, we mean 10.
From your wake up this morning, you're a winner.
10 years of entertainment on the scene where love and togetherness meet. On Sunday, August 16th, aboard the luxurious Embassy, boarding at King's Wharf at 3 p.m. and set sail promptly at 4. Featuring DJ Link, Everslick and Juice Store, Kryptonite Sound, Schematic Sound, and Rough Cut International. Advance tickets are $200. Contact 495-6685, 347-7867, and 732-0786. Cheers to Life 10. Rhythm and Wave.
Mommy, your dream came true. I gonna walk down the aisle.
Finally, show me a ring.
Up the plane.
What?
With KFC and Copa Airlines down the aisle promotion.
Well, take me on the trip now.
Win an all expenses paid trip for two to one of 5 Copa Airline destinations with KFC. To enter, you can either buy an onion ring sandwich and upload the receipt, or upload a cool pic of you enjoying your onion rings with the hashtag #ShowMeARing. 2 winners will be selected, and weekly KFC vouchers are up for grabs too. See social media for details. Promotion ends September 6th and is approved by the NLCB.
Join us.
Strictly local radio show, blazing the best positive hits out of TT.
Hottest radio show.
Welcome. You are now locked in.
Every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m., blazing the very best in Trinbago music and more, sending the heartbeat of the Twin Islands straight to the world.
This service is a massive communication product that aims to provide a new media platform for local TT entrepreneurs.
You're now locked into one of the hottest radio shows.
Send us your voice notes or call in live and rep your district. Whether you're in East, West, North, South, or Sweet Tobago, this is your show, your sound, your culture.
Hottest radio show.
Strictly local, hosted by the one and only DJ Flex 868. Don't miss it. Every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m. Only on the streets 91.9 FM. The vibes, the culture, the sound of Trinbago.
We blaze all the best in TT. Hashtag rep your district.
It's KFC in the cricket. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. Doing it the KFC way. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. TKR all the way. Passion inside the way. Bring in the energy. It's chicken for all the way. KFC got way. When we come out to play, nothing can bother way. Winning is part of way. TKR all the way. Grab your maximum crunch bucket today with 6 pieces of chicken, 1 regular popcorn chicken, 4 regular sides for only $144.95. Crunch after crunch with KFC.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Yes, callers and listeners, we are back. Caller, before I come back on, I want to apologize for that, the short notice of us going for that break. So certainly you can call us back. You can call me back. I am here, and we were having a discussion on the government's crime initiative of putting down 30 police posts in certain areas of Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm being told also that that in itself are being revised at the moment, because the police would have advised that it may not be strategically important to put posts in all the areas that were initially identified. So even that is being revised, and that shows a lot of thinking is being placed behind this particular initiative, right? So I'd like to hear what you have to say with respect to this. And you can call us on 342-0081 or 466-5391. Certainly, it is important that the government do something. We've been crying out that they do something. They say that this plan is a plan that has been in the making for almost a year now, and I suppose that would have formed part of the ZOSO legislation and the ZOSO initiative. But clearly, this, as I was saying to the caller just before the break, the issue of people and the police and the communities, walking in communities, knowing everybody, this to a large extent will facilitate that. This is something that we've been asking for on this program, that is police on the beat, police on foot, police knowing every citizen, every person in the community, what are the challenges, what might happen just now, where the bodies are buried, everything. I think this is a great initiative. We need to probably see more police visibility than just seeing police cars passing here and there. And this in particular would bring about that kind of visibility and would bring about that kind of assurance by people in the community is that this is happening, that the police is doing what they're supposed to be doing. We should see probably some changes in the numbers after this initiative is up and sailing. The other thing I'm hearing, well, those are questions being raised. There are quite a lot of questions being raised about the procurement and about who are chosen to do the construction of these things and how much money government spending on it and all that kind of thing. But to me, how much money they spend at this time is not very relevant to me. I mean, we have procurement legislation and that kind of thing to follow, but to me, how much they spend right now is not really relevant because we do definitely have a crime situation. We have a situation with murders which needs to be addressed. And every life you save is worth the money you spend to do so. So, the number to call is 342-0081 and 466-5391. You can call me. Let's have a discussion on this particular issue. The issue that probably would have raised all the challenges would have been the issue with respect to the one that has been built in the Eddie Hart area. And that, to a large extent, had to do with the structure being placed in the vicinity or over a NGC pipeline. But I'm being told also that pipeline is dormant and there's no need to have we should not be having concerns with respect to that. Which is more important to us? And those are the things that we would want to examine in this whole issue of these 30 police posts that are being placed throughout Trinidad and Tobago as part of the government crime fighting initiative. So call us. The number is 342-0081, 466-5391. Certainly, we can have this discussion because this is not something that haven't been a concern before, and we knew that with the ZOSO legislation, to a large extent, one of the things that was going to come out of that was these police posts in these areas for which the government, by its own investigation or its own statistics, would see as challenging communities. These communities, this is now happening with all the legislation. And we've always said, whatever you need to do, right, for the persons the detractors, the persons who had a problem with the ZOSO legislation, even within that time, we were saying, all these initiatives, you could do it without legislation. The government has the authority, the police has the authority to do that, and we are seeing that they are doing it. So, it's like saying that we didn't need a state of emergency to deal with gangs because we have legislation to deal with that also. But this particular initiative, in my opinion, should go a long way in arresting some of the criminal activities, especially the petty robberies and that kind of thing that goes on in certain places. If something could happen a mile away and we could triangulate the situation and we know who is who, where the person went to and that kind of thing. With police posts in these areas, it will be very, very easy to apprehend and these situations. So, I want to hear what you have to say on this. We were hearing from Chris before the break, but I want to hear what you have to say. 342-0081 or 466-5391. Call me. Let's hear what your position is with respect to this particular issue, because this is something that seems to be of concern to a lot of people. We on this program have been saying for quite some time that for almost all of the tenure of this government thus far, we've been under a state of emergency, and we have been saying also that a perpetual state of emergency cannot be a crime plan. It cannot solve the problem. It hasn't been solving any problem in any significant way. But we are seeing now that they are doing something that looks like a crime plan. The caller just before the break was saying that we have to do other things, right? This by itself cannot necessarily be the answer. We all agree with that. This by itself can't be the answer. There are a number of things. We have to deal with the youth. We have to deal with dealing with education, dealing with parenting, single parenting, and how we support single parents and that kind of thing. We have to deal with all these issues. Some would say the state may not have the apparatus or even the finance to be able to do those things. But this initiative, this police force initiative, is yet another thing that could be done to help Trinidad and Tobago. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Marcus. Yeah, I made my comments on that, I think, last week. Not last week, but sometime then. I think it is a good initiative, but as your previous caller said, I think it's Mr. Chris, you need the social intervention there. You need the community development aspect of it with respect to you need the social intervention in terms of programs and whatnot within the communities themselves. And one of the things that people, I think, they tend to ignore, people in Trinidad, governance is something that they have to become more involved in. You just don't elect people, you just don't put things down and turn your back. You put a pot on the fire and you turn your back and you go on your way, right? You elect people and you know where wrong. You're not operating as guardrails and whatnot. No checks and no balance on what they do. You just leave everything to them, and then what you find yourself is a lot of chaos. So the fact remains, there's a shared responsibility, and the people in the community themselves must play a role in ensuring that the police do what they ought to do, or what they should do, what they should be doing. So you could put the post there, but you move them from the station and put them in the post, and then the behavior, the attitude, the way they conduct themselves is no different. So you have to be watchdog.
And you have always been saying that you in particular, I was just referring to you a while ago, that we need police visibility in the communities. I don't know if you remember, we had a program last week with a former police officer on the program.
I listened to him, and it was very instructive. I learned quite a lot from him.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that the Prime Minister should hear from him. Right? And even Mr. Alexander should hear from him. Not people running around the place. And I mean, it made a lot of sense. And that is what you want in the community. That is what you want to evolve to. So,
Correct.
So I think that you're only right, but you have to get the other components in. And again, the people must be the watchdog in those communities to ensure that things are done properly. This thing, yes, you put the post there, but the question of you have to manage it well. Management, you have to have people who want to oversee, you have people who want to visit, and the question about visibility in the community, the question of engaging the community, and the gentleman you had last week spoke well to it. Because you spoke with the parents, you spoke with the people, you interact with them. The question of town meetings and whatnot, you need to have town meetings in those communities. You have to do that.
You see, because if you know the people, if in every district you have a disaggregation of the crime fighting or the police service, then it will be very easy for police officers to go in the communities, similar to what Dave James would have indicated last week, when he picked up a child or children fighting on the street and he took them home to the parents, and that kind of policing doesn't exist. But if we have bringing back of that in the time of James, Smiley and Curep and that kind of thing, we have bringing back that kind of, regime, then we would certainly have some kind of lock on the situation.
Yeah, you need that. And then the question of information, the question of intelligence and all that kind of thing.
Correct.
Interact with the people build trust in you, they know you, you're there with them. And Mr. James, I think you call him Mr. Smiley or whatever.
Yeah, Smiley, Dave James.
He offers so much. And I think they would do well to listen to him, give him an audience, and these are the things you want. You don't want people outside there you have some people outside there, they're all on the radio, all about the place making a certain noise, just grandstanding and posturing and that kind of thing about what could work and that can't work and this and that and all kind of thing. The fact remains is that nothing is perfect, and the fact remains is that a government must be sensitive enough to know that you don't have perfect. You put something in place. It may not be perfect, but you could make the necessary changes in terms of improving the what you would have put in place over time, and that is what it's all about. But the government must be sensitive. They must be willing to listen to the people.
Correct.
Listen when people talk, and when not just. But some of them don't listen at all. They don't want to hear. And some people telling them, don't listen, forget that, to forget this and that. And you have those kind of people because I live.
Well, I was just making the statement that when Chris would have said that, it's a multifaceted approach, a number of things have to happen, not just the police post, but you would need other supporting agencies, social services, that kind of thing. I would agree with him in saying that. But what I've seen, I don't know how many of you have noticed that, but I'm seeing a lot of police officers now with body cams. So it seems to be happening quietly.
Yeah, but you see the thing about it is that you have opposition, and when you're in government, you're going to have, and especially now, the evidence is quite clear. You have to let your communication must be topper. I want to use that word. People must know what you're doing.
Correct.
So when you talk about, you may see it, but how many people may see it? How many people would recognize that that what they have on them is body cam? Not many people. They may not, you may see that, but don't know that it's a body cam. So I'm saying that they must communicate with the people, and there's some things that you don't, but that you have to be transparent.
Yeah. No, I would agree with anyone who say also that the police have lost, or people have lost a lot of confidence in the police with coming out of that Samaru situation, coming out of a number of other things that would have happened over the years. And things like the human cry, the hurrah that is made with respect to body cams and that kind of thing, that would go a long way in bringing back some of the confidence that is needed to even introduce these kind of community projects.
Yes, but you see, what is critical? What is critical in Trinidad, and it speaks to the public service as a whole. Let's say include the police service, the prison service, wherever it is supervision. You have those people, those police officers, senior officers who are senior superintendent, assistant commissioner, deputy commissioner. You have inspectors, you have sergeants. If these people will do their work, you have no problem. And I'm saying that you need to have proper supervision. If you have supervision, and they must be accountable. And the commissioner has that, but I don't know. I don't want to get into those matters. But I'm saying that sometimes you don't get the cooperation at the highest level. You don't get cooperation from those people under you, and that is quite normal because you look at the politics within the organization itself. You have the politics that you in leadership you have to work with. And people, if you study. You would have studied things like organizational behavior, so you would understand. You have within organization, you will have conflict.
Correct.
You will have the informal groups. You have grapevine and all these different things within organization and also public. Well, any organization you're going to find that, and you have to work with that. We have leadership issues. You have all those issues, cultural issues that you have to be very conversant with. And therefore, I don't know the level or the extent of the cooperation that he receives or he gets from those people who are under him. But those people have to work. And if these people are not, because the question of communities, I don't know how many people in the West know who is the superintendent, the senior superintendent responsible for that area.
And that's something you always say.
Anybody, if you live in Digo Martin, you don't know who is the inspector there. And the thing about it is they're not engaged in the population. That is one of the biggest problem out. They're not engaging. There's no engagement. And you get how you engage the people. You build trust with the people. You get information from them, right? And you have a better working relationship with those people, and therefore you build. Because the thing about it, how many people in some of those communities? We have a police station in the area. How many of those people know the telephone number for the police station? How many? I heard a person the other day on one radio station trying to contact a police station, a host of a program, and he didn't know the number. The number he called was disconnected and all that.
Yeah, exactly. So you ever try to call a government office?
So if you have a problem in your area, and that kind of interaction with the police would mean that people would be more. It helps in dealing with crime because people would know in case of emergency if they sight something unusual. They call the police. Mm-hmm. But calling the police to also need trust because they have to rebuild that trust from people. But you could only do so if you interact with them.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So these are the things I would want to see this thing succeed. But it takes a lot, it's more than just putting these people there, and you need proper supervision.
Right, but we also need buy-in from the public, because if the public don't buy into it, it will still have problems, and we seem to be always infusing politics in these very, very serious issues, and that is causing problems in trying to be good to me.
Yeah, you see, because what happened here is this is the underlying issue there is power. Because what people believe, what they want is power. The politics is infused in those matters because people are vying for power. Mm-hmm. And when you believe that they're not going to, well, and that has been the norm. You have people who will be telling you about, we're not going to cooperate with you, we're going to alienate you, we're going to isolate you until whatever, on all these nonsense you hear, the question of nation building and all that. And this is Trinidad. We live here, and if people talking about they don't want the police here and what the leader tell them, the fact remains is that if this matter is not, if the crime situation is not dealt with effectively, you see what happened in Haiti. You see what happened in other parts of Africa. And you believe that you in your house and those people, they have the bag of money, they live in gated communities, they have the security and whatnot. You are with the wolves. They leave you with the wolves because eventually it may come to you. Mm-hmm. People here, you live in Trinidad. Once you live in Trinidad and you live in a crime-infested community, and you have people who would be, may become a casualty. You see, and you think you never could tell. You have your mother, your sister, your brother, and these are the things that you. So I would be eager to see the authorities deal effectively in crime because I don't know who will be next. Nobody knows who will be next. If in 10 years you have 5,420 murders, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago dead, murdered. Mm-hmm. And people, they couldn't be bothered by that.
Who does that benefit?
Huh?
Who does that benefit? The only person that benefits is the person who predict that is what is going to happen.
The question is, who is going to be next? Who's going to be next? You have seen situations where people go to a shop, a parlor to buy, children going to a shop to get certain things, people go in a grocery and big shootout, and they get killed.
Mm-hmm.
They got killed. And all these things, so you don't know who is going to be next. It could be you, it could be me, it could be whoever it is, your brother, your sister, your nephew. So you need to get crime under control. The question of unemployment, you have high mounted unemployment, and I wouldn't worry, I dealt with that already. The question of people investing in your country, if there's no social stability, if you're not able to deal with crime, there's disorder, social disorder, people are unwilling to invest in your country. Right? Because you may have people coming here to invest, they're sending their managers and whatnot here. They have the children and all these. Those people out there, they don't operate by guess, you know. They do their due diligence. They look at the number of factors that they look at. So it would impact the ability of young people who would have left school, left university and whatnot, to find jobs. Because who is investing? The local people may not even want to invest their money here because as I said here, there are certain areas that people are not going to invest because they can't even go in the community. Let's say invest there. So people have to treat this thing as for what it's worth. And it's good to know that the government is responding to it by putting this, but they need more. And
Correct.
They need proper supervision there in those with those booths. You have to get those senior superintendents active in those communities, the areas, the division in which they take their responsibility.
The only concern now is what are the objective of this particular initiative, because it must be for intelligence, it must be for bringing about a certain level of security in the communities, knowing the people, getting the right kind of intelligence to solve crime, and bringing back a certain kind of confidence in the security system. That to me is of paramount importance with these particular police posts in these areas.
Yeah, and the question of training, and you don't necessarily have to send people back. Yes, you need training at the level of the training college and all that kind of thing, but you have on-the-job training. You have people you have the supervisors, you have the inspector, you have the sergeant, you have the corporal, and all these people. When you're talking about a very critical thing with respect to those junior officers who you put in those posts, you have to brief them before they go on, they take a post. They just don't come and throw their bag in some room somewhere, put on a uniform, and go and occupy a post. You have to brief them in terms of what you expect them to do, what they should be doing, what this would do, and then you also have the briefing. I don't know if these things happen there, and I learned these things from George Floyd with the person who was in charge of the Minnesota police and all the whole process, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they're going with that.
So all these things are things the police itself have to iron out and understand or bring to the wider police service the real true intent of the initiative and what and how they will operate in these communities.
Yes. And the question about it, I find that sometimes we generally, Trinidadians are very slow to get things done. If we're going to do something, sometimes it takes much too long.
Yeah.
If you appoint somebody to go and do some inquiry or to go and whatever it is, by the time the government out of office, they report nothing. And people have to operate with alacrity, with some urgency, and that kind of thing. You have to give timelines and all these kind of things. You want something done in 3 months' time, in 4 months' time. It can't be open-ended.
Correct.
Can't be open-ended. You give somebody a task to do for you and you do it. I want a report within 6 months, within 4 months.
Yeah.
And apparently they give people things and they just go and they open-ended and
Correct.
just down the road.
And most of the time it is because we didn't begin with a plan, a real plan. So we're not interested in data, we're not interested in timelines, we're not interested in none of those things. And even where we would have said that, there's a very low expectation as to the ability even to do that.
Yeah, but that is part of the culture, and that is why this country, to a large extent, is where it is today, because nobody takes it seriously. And as I said, one of the things that they need to deal with very seriously is those service commissions. I don't know what they do, but I don't think that they fulfill their mandate as expected. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because I could look at it in terms, I remember when Buchanan was there, he was trying. He started with the appraisal and all these different things. I heard the Service Commission spoke about this question about this thing where they said that the police commissioner had on it. I really don't pay too much attention to that because I think people made too much out of it. But what I'm saying here is this, is that they said they were going to rule on it and give a ruling on it. So up to now, I don't know what the ruling is. I didn't see the papers. I don't know. So so we have to get serious in this country, and people have to do the work, have to work.
Yes, and all those are things that certainly needs to revise or revisit in some ways if you really want to tweak the system to create a foolproof system where we have good crime fighting initiative, data-driven management and leadership.
Yeah, we have to get serious in this country. Yeah,
but let me take some other calls.
Yes. Okay.
Right? Yeah. Good evening, caller. Good evening, caller.
How's that?
Good. How are you?
Hi there, good evening to each and every one.
Good evening.
And to the last caller, well said.
Mm-hmm.
And in context.
Yeah, Mr. West is always on point.
Yeah, so I want to tell Mr. West, since baby Jesus, Father created the heaven and earth and the rest of the seventh day, the east was the east, the south was the south, the east and the west will always be the west, and Mr. West will always be the best. So, so Uncle West, I would like to say, right? No, as a young fella growing up and listening, I remember the days when they said we had donkey cart used to be running through the city of Port of Spain. And then it had police used to be in short pants and a big hard hat and a little bateau. Then it come from them, the donkey cart, we had bicycle and one or two little cars driving through the town. And after some many years, police had gone on the side and they replaced it with the bateau with gun. And then they started to get long pants. And when they get long pants to wear now, the police service start to get ticket because it had too much cash coming in the country. And look at it now, we reached today now that it had camera, that if you pack up bad, they give you the city ticket for you. Look how we mature as a nation. But there's one thing, is seeing leadership and execution and organization structure. It's something from since the beginning of time because Lucifer wanted Jesus to implement his structure. And Jesus said no, the Lord said no, Lucifer, my structure is this. Then here what's going on. You go down to earth and everything on earth is yours. And when they're dead, they will be mine. So Lucifer said, wait, you taking dead people? He said, I'm taking the souls there. And when I take the souls, they will then see the value of what the lost on earth. That when I put them on earth, for you, Lucifer, if they serve and build themselves, I know what I want. When they're dead, they'll come back to me. So you keep them. And Lucifer started to corrupt the minds. And look at it. Lucifer started to do everything and give them everything. He said, wait, when you make a press for 50 days, you only have to tell Lucifer, hey, Lucifer, in 1 week time, I want that, and do Lucifer bidding, you get it? So you think about it now. There is things that we, the citizens, we make a change the 25th, 2025, the 28th, and we send a message. And I think now is it time, because these politicians who are ruling, I think they have other ears now. There is listening, and there is want to hear what the public has to say. So I feel if we call for a consultation or we call for what and what, you'll be. But based on past history, I would say that if anybody remember Point 14 Gun Hill, Cathedral there, it had fishermen coming from Cedar. They can't even pass with the fish to come out or go back in, they get robbed. They built a little concrete structure on top of a hill. And since then, the fishermen and them, that is how much, over 40 years now, 25 years now, solid, they're passing. But I look at it that since 17 of them went home from the service, I feel that the commissioner we have right now is setting the record straight, and he building a manpower strength. And I don't think he will leave the loophole for them that when they misbehave in public office, that the association to protect them. Because if he set up 17, and we have the Bureau, the Professional Standard Bureau, and they strengthen that, and then we have the next West in the other part of the complaint. That is the one we had to pull up on and give him some teeth. Try by the dentist, I have some false teeth. I put some implants so he can bite hard. Because when we're talking about that part, but when we see it now, that the quick fix, we can see now that when these outposts is in different strategic points, I know my garden produce safe. Because 2 o'clock in the morning when I come home to sleep, I know the real farmer ain't going and out my crops, and he had to pass all the police posts. And when they check it out, because they have spot check, and that thing is really for first responder, and the soldier will just be the backup because them boys are have some kind of caps gone. What's that? You can stay from Trinidad and shoot on anything in Israel. So we had to put the army with a little more power that we shoot them in Tobago. So you see, when they meet fire with fire and thing, and we put these things in strategic points, the land that we could go and squat free, build anything, so our country are coming forward, but we put up 2 little concrete that could dig out after a time. Yeah. We had the community police going through the community, driving in the night. We had the police driving with the blue light on through the villages. So we feel a little comfort when we see the blue light coming. And we feel safe. So there's step there now. That when somebody in my village and Toruba get the message, Point 14 get the message, and Sipara get the message, where they're going? That they're going to ski. That they swim. So they have to restructure the organization. So it's better that we put a little pressure on them, and make them work a little harder. And give it, as they say, let me try it, we'll like it. But umpire, you know, the ball open on the 15th over at the game. Because the ball gets so much licks in them over the first 15 overs. And the umpire bring a ball, which is ball 20 overs, and he tell me how to bowl with that. How that game can be fair? How's that?
It don't always be fair.
All right. Latest.
All right. I always admire the satirical expression of that caller. But he said a lot. Good evening, caller.
Satirical expression. Hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I hope you had a fine weekend.
Yes.
Face looking bright today.
I did.
Very happy. You know what I don't understand, boy? We need people in this country who think out of the box. We need critical thinkers.
Correct.
You know You know what killing this country? Sycophants. You see these sycophants who go along with everything the government do, you know, without asking a question and just going along like a headless chicken. These are the people that have the country in the mess that it's in right now. Now, I'm not saying that the government mustn't try, you know, things to bring down crime. But it's not what you do. It's how you do it. If you want to put up a police post in my area, you don't think it is, you know, polite enough to come to mention something to me so that we could work together to have it done and have it done in a proper way that will be beneficial for everybody. This government that's in place right now, just doing things anyhow they feel to do. And I look at some of the things they're doing as distraction. You know, we had the boy that get killed with the girl marching up and down. Right, to kill that distraction, they come with the 1%. That come and that gone out the window now. Now they're coming with this one here now. You know.
But don't you think that this one now is something that would benefit the citizenry and probably reduce crime, or probably provide more visibility in the community, or probably even provide more intelligence to the police in the community? You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why I don't think so. First to begin, the public don't have no trust in the police, nor the army. That is number one. So like you're putting cat to watch butter. Then again, it is alleged that one of the persons who is responsible for putting up all these booths all over the place were responsible for shutting down the country for a day. Right? Some Trinidadians have 9 days memory, and that is the problem we have. You see, the government feel that we working for them and not them working for we. You can't be just doing things and not informing the population. All right. Let me cut the cheese with all that set along to. You're putting up police posts, 30 police posts all over the country and even Tobago. And eyes are banded. I know where all the police posts is. The same year you put on police posts, you don't think I will find a way to get around it? You don't think so?
No,
and then again,
but don't you think it will be easier for the police to probably even arrest the situation in the community when you have more areas to triangulate a situation and to accessibility and that kind of thing for the police? You don't think it will create more visibility?
No. If when you call the police station, they never have a car and nobody available to come on the site right now, what that doing? What that really doing? Listen to me. We have to start thinking out of the box and stop thinking about party. Because you vote for a party, you're obligated to do anything the party say, and when the party come up with something, you're just going along with a headless chicken.
Well, this program is about solutions, so maybe you could give us some solution on this program so the public will hear.
Okay, let me give you some solutions. Some solution is the people that you have locked up without charges, let them go. Put the police to work. Deal with intelligence. Let police go undercover, set up sting operation and things like that. And you will reap reward. Keeping people incarcerated without charges and crime going down, not helping the situation because they have to come out at some time. When they come out, there's the plan you have for them. So it's you either want to continue running the country with SOE, or you want to continue running the country where they didn't get you with this Zozo thing. So this is a form of Zozo that I see in going, perpetuated on the population right now. You see? So that is some of the solutions that I have. The government should really look, take a look into it, and the honest way they think that solving crime is through fighting fire, and that don't always work. Look at things at rehabilitation when you have prisoners in jail so that they will come back out in society a changed person. instead of having them living in 1820 condition in the prison. You breeding criminal. Look at things like that.
But they passed a piece of legislation not too long ago, a new law that does exactly that. Did you know that?
Well, I am grateful for that. Anything that the UNC do positive, I support and I'm grateful for it because I want a better Trinidad and Tobago. But as right now, as I am looking at the two sides of the coin, PNM and UNC not suited for this country today. Just now when you're driving around here, go be like Berlin, a checkpoint here, a checkpoint so, like we in Berlin. You back in World War I or something. This is where the country coming to. This is the kind of country the government want for the citizen. Man, look, it's about set of educated donkeys in position in this country that not making things better. They trying to do things for they to look good, and to eat our food. Let the population know now who is responsible for putting up these 30 posts, how much money it costs, and how the procurement was done. Them is things we want to know. I'm not going along with because them putting up that and them say that would deal with crime and not. I'm not going along with that. I have to. Boy, sometimes I just get vexed. Boy, I just want to call in some of these programs, but sometimes when I listen to some of the callers, it does just irritate me. But because I was wondering if these people just stupid or blind, or if the police they could see is where the big two is. You understand? If you don't ask questions and let the government know where they're going wrong, they will continue doing what they're doing because in their mind, nobody saying anything, so they feel that they're right about what they're doing. But you need objective thinkers out here to keep the government in check. And no matter what they say about the opposition and the government looking for pips, I pull this from the truth. I think that there's questions that should be asked when certain decisions are being made, and we should get answers instead of resistance. That's how I think of it. But I want a better Trinidad and Tobago, but I don't want a better Trinidad and Tobago being run by state of emergency or 30 police posts put up. This is modern time. They have technology that could solve crime now. I didn't like Gary Griffith. I didn't like that man at all. But I think Gary Griffith had it, correct, with the intelligence before he makes certain raids. I think he had it right, That is the kind of policing I want to see. I don't want to see 1820 policing in 2026. That don't make sense to me, But anyway, I'm going to leave room for other callers.
Yeah, thank you for calling. Sometimes we have to, think, and we have to probably avoid majoring and minors, because to me, what is important for Trinidad and Tobago is that we have a situation where we have less crime and less criminal activities. And as our very first caller in this hour would have indicated, we need a multifaceted approach to this. So these police posts and that kind of thing, to me, this is a good thing, but this is not all that we should be exploring. We should be exploring other things, because a simple thing like people being able to take care of themselves, people having opportunities to work, to have food on the table, to inflation, all these things are things that different elements of government and different elements of the state will certainly have to take into consideration, including what is being done. Good evening, caller. Caller, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Gentlemen, is this an open forum?
Yes.
Or is there a particular topic being discussed?
No. You can come and you can bring your story. This is the Third Empires, and we listen to the pavilion.
All right. Now tell me something. Why all this hullabaloo about moving the Independence Day parade from one area to another area? Can't we spread it throughout Trinidad and Tobago? This is our national holiday, our Independence Day. Couldn't we keep it in Dwight York Stadium in Scarborough? Skinner Park, recently refurbished Skinner Park, Jean Pierre Complex. Couldn't we be creative? They say we are creative people, but couldn't we, instead of, if it fails, if that initiative, what I'm suggesting fails, then remove it bring it back to the savannah.
Well, Kola, you sound like a mature person, and I don't know if you remember. It used to be like that long time, you know. To me, like long time, every community used to have their own independence celebration.
Each community had their celebration. So why is everything, all the major events in our country has to be centered around Port of Spain? Couldn't we use our initiative, our creativity? We go to the Dwight York Stadium. Now, these facilities are not as big as Savannah, but they can work. Skinner Park was recently refurbished. Dwight York, we go to Chabonas, we go to Arima. Why are we stuck in the Port of Spain? Is Port of Spain Trinidad and Tobago?
That's a good question.
It's a national event. It's our independence. It's spread it throughout the country. Don't limit Port of Spain, Port of Spain, Port of Spain. It's a national event.
Yeah,
it's not a religious holiday. It's not a religious holiday. So you can move it from, in 27 we go Arima. In 28 we go Scarborough. 29 we go Skinner Park. So that people will feel a closeness and a connection. I am coming from Superior. I have to get to Port of Spain for 8 o'clock. What time I have to leave Port of Spain? Superior to reach Port of Spain for 8 o'clock. Independence Day. 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, if you bring it closer to me like Skinner Park, I could leave at 7 and still get there by 8.
But I don't know if my memory serves me correct. Long ago, independence used to be celebrated in every borough,
within each community.
I'm talking about with the police in the community, with fire services, with soldiers, with everybody.
We had the community, the effort, the initiative was within the community. It wasn't centered in Port of Spain. All our major events are centered in Port of Spain. Why? It's Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, there are certain events that we can keep in Port of Spain, like Parliament and the President's house, the Prime Minister's residence. All right. But why have to we be, we shouldn't be, they say we are creative people. Well, let's create something for the people in South. Let's create something for the people in Central, in Tobago. No, Queen's Park, Savannah, Port of Spain. End of story. Yes, that is what it is.
That's a good suggestion. That's a good suggestion. I knew it used to be like that long ago. So I don't see why that that can't continue to happen.
Each community used to have their own Independence Day celebrations. Now you moved it to Port of Spain. I live in Hototo. And I want to get into Port of Spain. I take up 4 o'clock on a public holiday to get into Port of Spain from Hototo to get into Port of Spain for 8 o'clock. When I leave and I don't have a vehicle, I drive in, so using the public transport, PTSC. So when I leave there now, I have to walk down to PTSC compound, wait for a bus. Oh God. Ease me up now. Skinner Park.
I hear you.
If I have to go Skinner Park, my journey from Pinal to San Fernando is lessened. It is lessened my journey. But when I have to go to Port of Spain, I have to get up 4 o'clock in the morning, pack a picnic basket. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Where we going? Where we spinning? What we spinning? Top, mud and top. Not even top and mud, we spinning mud and top. What's going on in this country? And yet still we have the third world mentality, but we want to think first world. You can't. We done third world already. We can't become first world overnight. First world has to do with the mental thinking of the individual. No, we want to be first world. First what? First in what? Bacchanal, commerce, confusion? That's what we first in. Minding people business, that's what we first in. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm so highly upset and annoyed.
Thank you. So I can feel the pain of those of you who, there are people who live in certain communities who certainly would have never experienced an independence celebration in this time, because as the caller would have said, it is all the major celebration is always kept in Port of Spain, and everybody can't get to Port of Spain, even for the fireworks. You have to come to Port of Spain. You have to leave if you live in where the gentleman said he is, you would have to, if fireworks is starting at 7 o'clock, you would have to leave down there 3 o'clock in the evening, and that kind of thing, and then to traverse to get back there if you're not driving or so, then that's another problem. So yes, he is correct, but to a large extent, these things happen all over the world. Very much almost the same as I was telling Ronaldo earlier on. I was in San Diego last year for U.S. independence, and I went to a convention center, or behind a convention center, where everybody was flocked in to look at the fireworks, the Independence Night celebrations. So it happens all over. But I think we need to re-establish the true significance of what independence means to us. And earlier on, we were talking about the CCJ and the relevance of our independence as a Caribbean nation, as colonies who became independent, and why our court should represent that independence. And the same thing with everything. And when we were talking about emancipation, it's the same, the ethos is the same. We need to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery, because we are not in chains anymore. And therefore, there are certain things we need to understand that we are free. And that means free to think. Thinking is still legal. It's still legal to think. And a caller before talked about critical thinking. We need to be able to think 360, think through everything before we do it and how it will benefit us. And to a large extent, when we start doing that, we could truly say that we have benefited from independence. And that is to a large extent very, 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 very instrumental. So, ladies and gentlemen, this evening we had what I would call a great show, a great cricket show. As you know, this is the Third Umpires, the Third Umpire show. And you can look for it and look for us on YouTube, Sherry Live, IWER station, the Third Umpire. You see the show every evening on YouTube. Well, not every evening when we are here, because we are not always here either on time or at all. Sometimes it's very difficult to make this show. But this show is a cricket show. The show is coined in a cricket metaphor. And we see you as the pavilion, and therefore the pavilion gets an opportunity to interact with us on the show, tell us how you feel, and as we've heard from most of the callers, their perspective of what is happening, and to a large extent their perspective is sometimes a good perspective or sometimes the perspective. But the politicians will do what they have to do, and we as citizens and umpires and pavilion, we have to do what we have to do also. So it is always nice to have you call in on these shows, interact with us, hear what we want to hear, let the public hear what is the side or all the sides, because what we say, we are not, we don't write the news, we don't make the game, we just umpire the game. So you, with your ideas and your concerns, you could share with us, call us, share, and tell us how you feel about the game, how you feel about the cricketing, and that is what to a large extent makes up the show. So, all in all, we've come to the end of the show this evening. Hopefully, we will be here tomorrow. You can join us again, call us, and talk to us. In the meanwhile, you can have a safe and enjoyable good afternoon. Until we meet again tomorrow, we say goodbye.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the Street 919 FM.
The presence of oxygen is absolutely the absence of disease. Most chronic diseases that plague us are not happening to us, but is happening within us. We're literally eating ourselves to death, which means we're not living longer, we're dying longer. Join fitness expert Aloy Johnson, the founder of the healthiest corner on earth, located at number 92 East Drive, Chamfleur, every Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. live on The Street 919 FM, where he shows you that healing the body's temple is easier than anyone would have led you to believe.
TechFlex TT Limited, the #1 computer store in Trinidad and Tobago, has all your tech needs. We have the latest computers, powerful MacBooks, and affordable Chromebooks for school and work, providing new and refurbished options to suit everyone's budget. Also, we carry a variety of printer options and ink solutions for your home and office needs. Need repairs done? Our experienced technicians can solve your tech problems. Visit us now at any of our 2 locations, Wilson Road, Scarborough, next to Royal Castle, or Penco Street, Montrose, Chagonas. Call 235-4919 for more info. TechFlex TT Limited. Affordable tech. Exceptional service.
Peace of God be multiplied unto you in the precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is Redemption Hour, a gospel program where God will reveal His mind to you on how to live a fulfilled life and to please Him in all areas. Join Pastor Femi Afolabi, the National Overseer of Deeper Christian Life Ministry, Trinidad and Tobago, and other seasoned ministers for a time of divine encounter as they minister and pray for you every Saturday by 9 o'clock in the morning of this station, Street FM 91.9. Our church is Deeper Life Bible Church, #1 Cochrane Street, opposite Tunapuna Police Station, Tunapuna. The times of our services are